I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Nope.
So, hello to all you Bi-Conics wrestling nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of Los Chicos Gordos, your NXT review team. I apologize for the lack of enthusiasm because my mind hurts because all the questions that I was left with after watching this NXT. And shocker, it had nothing to do with the women. The women killed it this week. So that's going to be the plus side. But there are a lot of things that NXT did this week post deadline that I'm very concerned with. Some of the stuff is cool, but I can't speak for Will, but there are going to be a few moments where I go off this episode because...
Yeah, you can speak for me because you know I am too.
Okay. I know my tag team partner here very, very well, and we're both going to go off on probably the same thing. So make sure you're strapped in, kids, because it's about to get bumpy up in here. So we are here, me and Will. We are here to review NXT from Tuesday, December 12, 2023. Let's just get the elephant out of the room quickly because we didn't even, NXT started before the credits hit. The first thing that we noticed before we get our first in-ring segment, all of a sudden Carmelo hit. And I'm going to say, I'm going to put the spoiler tag up here early. Carmelo, I love you, but we need to work on your tactical classes, bro. The ending was not it, but we'll get there. But Carmelo Hayes gets attacked and Trick Williams is yelling at everybody like, you didn't see anything? Who attacked him? Where'd they go? Check the cameras. Trick was not happy, and I'm like, baby boy. Oh, baby boy, I know he's your friend, but I'm like, he is setting you up.
Yeah. And can I just say, I can't help it. I gotta say it. I'm tired of this damn storyline. I mean, seriously. Is this going to be till the end of the year and then some big thing's going to happen? I don't know, but there's only so much that I think you can do with this story before it becomes people literally start tuning out. Because we just want to know who did what. Just Carmelo, just admit it. You did it. And then you faked your own injury. Because, the doctor didn't find anything wrong with you.
So I was just like, for me personally, I think Stand and Deliver is probably where they're going to go. Where I would like to see this end is literally at the pay-per-view called Vengeance Day in February. Vengeance Day is the perfect place. It has the word vengeance in it.
I know, right? That would be great.
Drag it out until February, and then instead have Ilya versus... I don't know if you want to do Ilya versus Trick at Stand and Deliver, but let's get Carmelo out of the way first, and then have Trick do some big match at Stand and Deliver. That's what I want to see. Who knows? We'll see what happens with all that. We're not done with Carmelo and Trick because we're going to come back to them later.
I just want them to do something more interesting with the storyline. I get it. We're trying to be mysterious, sleight of hand. Oh no, who attacked who? Oh, I see. Carmelo is just trying to deflect from himself, blah, 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 blah. You got to give me something else. You got to get other people involved. More people involved, not just one or two, but you need to get people involved. Throw my suspicions elsewhere. See, that's the whole thing about a mystery. You've got to throw my suspicions everywhere. You can't let me focus on one person because all I'm focused on right now is Carmelo Hayes, and which is probably what they want us to do. But that's why I'm bored with it because he's the only person that we're suspecting. I never once suspected Lexis King. Never once. Because I know they brought this Joker in to be a pot stirrer, and that's cool. But that's all he was doing. He wasn't and that's why I know, it wasn't him because he's just a shit stirrer. That's all he is. And he comes in and goes, oh, hey, maybe it was me. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was this. And I'm now I want other teams, other wrestlers to get involved. I want to find a way to get some of the tag teams mixed into it, some kind of big conspiracy theory. Literally. So Trick has no freaking clue what's going on.
Right. Okay.
He needs to be completely clueless.
Right. Okay, so hear me out, right?
Okay.
So, I have two options. We need a murder board. That's what this is missing. We literally need a... Listen...
Not a bad idea, actually.
Before he turned into this uninteresting character, remember, in Impact, we had a murder board trying to figure out who attacked Santino. So literally, we just need... Listen, we need a murder board, and we need a tag team or a crazy individual to do it. And my pick is, if I'm going to be honest, just because of how weird they are, There's a few options. Will, you list yours first and see if we were.
I was just gonna say Joe Gacy.
Exactly. That's who
it needs to be. I totally think it is. I mean,
get him a detective's hat.
Yeah, I have like a closet somewhere, like like a janitor's closet. Who's like converted, and he's got all these like lines like running through the whole
everyone
room.
Thinks he's nuts, and then he actually has a breakthrough. And
I would be here for that because
That's exactly who I was thinking of too.
Yep. It needs to be him. It needs to be Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy needs to do this. He needs to be the one that cracks this case open.
Oh my gosh. I would be, listen, Shawn Michaels, somebody send this video to him because we got ideas. Me and Will would love to do a week in NXT and write for you guys. It'd be so great. I will write and will teach the wrestlers how to act. Like, seriously. No, I'm dead serious. I was like, you can never go wrong with people. Fair. Like, seriously. So, from this little angle, we jump in ring where we see Cora Jade giving her returning promo. I need to have my little gripe with the internet wrestling community. I was like, listen, she was gone for 4 months. We all know why. The internet wrestling community, please stop pointing it out, okay? And all the jokes is starting to get old. I was just like, yes, Cora Jade is here to upgrade NXT just like she upgraded herself, if you catch our drift. I'm like, listen, I'm not even going to go into that. But Cora Jade gives this little promo. She's putting the women's division on notice. And then Blair comes out. She's like, girl, no. I was like, yes, you are back, but let's not forget, you kind of stole my spotlight from Saturday after you attacked Lyra. Oh, wait, back that up. So Lyra comes out first, then Blair does, because Lyra's just like, oh, so you want to attack me? All right, let's fight right here now. And Blair's like, Lyra, hold up. I got her number first. I was just like, you took my moment away from me. We got to have a talk. And then from there, like, these three women were just talking and trying to figure something out. And then I love that Nikita interrupts everybody. She comes in and she's like, hello, Blair, I'm gonna kick your ass, and then proceeds to beat her up. She's like, ensued.
Let me tell you, the women were on point in this episode.
They're just like, no talking, we're gonna punch each other.
Every sequence with the women was exciting and fun. It was exciting and fun. So, and it just gets better from here. I mean, that's what's so funny. It's like, oh, damn, oh, shit. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, that was cool. And then later on in the show, we're like, oh, damn, here we are again.
It was great. So I will admit, the talkie was not necessarily my favorite at this point, but, like, it didn't need to be. And I love that Nikita just said, like, 2 sentences, and then she proceeds to beat Blair, but Blair up. I was like, yes, this is how we do this. Which, of course, sets up our tag team match that we're going to see towards the end of the night, which we'll get to it when we get there. From here, we go backstage where our new correspondent is talking to Dragon Lee. So Dragon Lee talks about how it was a big moment for him to win this title. He dedicates it to Wes Lee, and he hopes for a speedy recovery. And he's going to uphold Wes Lee's amazing NXT North American Championship title reign that he had by literally having open challenges. And so when asked who his opponent's going to be, he's going to say, well, whoever answers the challenge, I'll find out just like the rest of you. So I'll see y'all later. I was like, yes, Dragon Lee, challenge anybody and everybody.
I love that.
Dragon Lee is about to have a series of amazing matches, which I'm super excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get our first real match of the evening, which I gotta say, this was a lot of fun. This was our mixed 6-person tag where we had Metaphor of Noam Dar, Aura Mensa, and Lash Legend taking on, I'm gonna call them Coyote Uglies.
Love it.
Literally, because they have the whole bar aesthetic going on in their entrance. So I was like, they are the Coyote Uglies. So Metaphor versus the Coyote Uglies. This match was so much fun. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And then it was made better by an appearance from a wild Tiffany Stratton in the middle of this.
Oh my God. That shit was funny. She came out and Fallon like whooped her ass.
Like, okay, so depending on the demographic of our viewers and, just a certain age and a certain ethnicity, we're all familiar with the term on-site. Fallon Henley was literally on site with Tiffany. Not even a word, not even a pause to yell at her and then go. She saw blonde and like a bull in a china shop. She honed into her target and whooped her ass.
And it was so wonderful. It was
like, Tiffany, what did you expect by coming out here?
I know. And it was that moment where Tiffany came out and it was like Fallon was doing her thing. And it was almost like spider sense And she didn't even like acknowledge. It was just like, I know you're there, bitch. And
again, on site is on site.
It was so good.
This match was so good. Lash Legend continues to impress me. She did awesome in this match too. I love Lash. But Josh Briggs, man, is just kicking everybody's face in too. I was like, this big country's beefy boy, man. I was just like, he's out here. And he set himself up for something very interesting that we'll talk about when we see them later in a promo. I was just like, ooh, this is going to get juicy. I'm kind of here for it. But Coyote Uglies picks up the victory, despite it becoming a 2-on-3 handicap match after Fallon left to go beat up Tiffany in the back, which was hilarious.
Can I just say, as your resident Big G, man, Noam Dar and Brooks all up on each other, all hairy and sweaty. I was like, ooh.
It's literally your shirt right now.
Yeah, literally, it's my shirt right now. I was like,
listen.
Yeah.
And that was the tame version, ladies and gentlemen. Strap yourselves in, because it's gonna get juicier from here in multiple ways. And if you don't know by now, what have you been doing? Like, you know this about us by now. But like I said, Coyote Uglies picks up the victory here. And then we jump backstage once again. So we're in the medical office with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes being checked out by WWE Medical. Trainer says there's nothing wrong. I kind of like this because Trick was worried, but he was also annoyed. He's like, bro, what are we doing? Like, what is happening? What is going on? I was like, because Trick was like, oh, okay, you're good. So we're fine then. Like, nothing's crazy. There was this one sentence that Trick said. I was like, oh, I love this because it turned Carmelo's brain and the gears started turning. I could see him plotting because Trick's like, yo, man, I know you got attacked, but I got business to handle with Ilya. Once that's done, then we'll figure out what happened to you. I was like, I could see the plotting happening in Carmelo's head because he's like, oh, this backfired. I needed Trick's attention, but he's still focused on Ilya. All right, what can I do to throw wet? I was like, he's trying to keep you down, Trick. Don't let this man keep you down. Overthrow the patriarchy. What?
Yeah, it was, this whole scene, I mean, when the medical guy, when the doctor was just like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you, basically. It's like, you're cleared. And I was thinking, oh, that's unusual for someone who just got clipped in the knee by something, I can't, no residual anything. I mean, what's going on here, Carmelo? Yeah, I agree. I think this was a ploy to knock Trick off his game, and it didn't work. Because Trick was just like, this sucks to me, man, but man, I gotta focus on what I gotta get done. And and it's so funny, and the visuals of, and we'll talk about last time, the visuals of Trick in front and Carmelo in the background. Man, and Carmelo does not look happy. So I'm just like, this is good. This damn well better evolve into one of the most amazing betrayals ever. This better be a freaking Dynasty episode. I'm like, it needs to be, oh God, or I guess for the more, modern people, the Red Wedding or whatever it was called in Game of Thrones, where everyone gets, and you don't know who's dead, who's alive. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping this is going to be like,
it's a massacre. The NXT locker room gets dragged into this. It literally becomes Avengers Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. And
that'd be kind of sick. Like Team Trick versus Team Melow would be something I would be here for.
Seriously, I would too.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And once again, we will not be done with these two because we're going to talk about them. The next couple things are going to be tied in together because it all has to deal with, the NXT Men's Breakout Tournament. So we begin where we get an introduction to all of the participants in the Men's Breakout Tournament. So, okay, it's like, down, Papa Bear, down. We will get to there, and I will let you out of your cage in a sec. So we get an introduction to all 8 participants. So to not miss anyone, we are introduced to our participants, and they are Riley Osborne, Oma Femi, Luca Crucifino, Tavion Heights, Miles Bourne, Trey Bearhill, which we'll talk about him in a little bit, Keanu Carver, and Dion Lennox. And we are told that we're going to get our first round now because it's going to be Miles Bourne versus Oma Femi. But before we can get to anything, Lexus King comes out with the chair and he attacks Trey Bearhill as The refs have to get him off and send Lexus King to the back. I have my thoughts and opinions, but it's time to let out Papa Bear out of his cage. So Will, go off. This is the Heated Angel Corner, part 1.
Okay, so here's my level of frustration and, dare I say, anger towards this sort of thing. Because out of 9 people standing there, they have Lexus King attack the Native American when just across from him was a white boy. So what the fuck? And this is, and I'm going to preface this because I'm going to go off later on too. So I'm going to preface this all. This is not me being a white savior. Okay, this is the idea of what this looks like in perception from an educator standpoint, because this sort of assault by a white man on a native wrestler, because again, we're going to talk about it later on too. I don't understand what they're trying to tell people when they show things like this. And, like I said, when we get to it later on, we'll talk more about the other one that I'm really kind of sick and tired of as well. But out of 9 men standing on that frickin' air and that entryway, you go for, the funny thing is it's like, oh, well, he was just the closest to him. No, he was not. There was literally another wrestler to his left that Lexus King had to get to Bear Hill. I mean, it's like, we can't have a white man come out and do this, that, and the other, but oh, there's that native guy. It's just like, my level of frustration with these choices is driving me insane. And also I can tell, this is coming from a gay man standpoint too. Understanding that gay men are targeted, lesbians are targeted. I understand. This choice triggers me. And I'm not really one that gets triggered easily, but all I see is targeting. Like, we are targeting the Native American wrestlers, and I don't understand it. It'd be like if, you have an openly gay wrestler who is very, comes running in with, Pride merch on and stuff, and then they're constantly getting attacked. That's a perception issue. It's okay. It's like, and the other thing is, and we don't know, because we haven't seen actually Bear Hill fight yet. So I don't know what his capabilities are. But with other examples is what it feels like. And I'm like, because they can't fight back sort of thing. I don't know. I've watched this yesterday, so I've actually had time to cool down. So I'm not as hot as I was yesterday, because I was so angry. I literally rewound it and showed it to some of my students. And I was like, that's my question. And then one of the others was like, yeah, there was a whole other, he literally had to walk past another wrestler to get to Bear Hill. Why didn't he just attack me? Because I'd give him a little bit of backstory on it. So if he just wanted to be in this sort of thing, why didn't he just take out the first wrestler he came in contact with? And let me tell you, I was super excited to see him wrestle. I'm super excited. Actually, I'm super excited about all of these guys, actually. They all look amazing. But I am so tired of these choices. And if you're trying to say something symbolically, it's failing. I don't know what you want me to pull from this, so you're gonna have to, I guess, treat me like I'm a 5-year-old and spell it out for me, because I don't understand. I don't. And the other one we'll talk about later, even more so. It hurts my heart, man. And I've been accused of being a sentimental fool, but it literally hurts my soul to watch things like that. And again, it's about the perception of it. It's not the actual what you're doing. It's the perception of it. You're thinking, oh, we're gonna have him go out and diagonally. He's gonna hit that wrestler. That's great, but you're singling out the Native Americans. At least that's what it looks like. Have him go, hit another, a white wrestler, or and I'm not saying he can't hit Native Americans, because that's wrestling. It's wrestling. You're hitting everybody. Everybody gets hit. But this seems like I feel like we've seen this multiple times, and it's beginning to feel uncomfortable. So NXT, please For the love of God, stop. Think about what you're doing and how it's going to be perceived, because there are children watching this at home, and you're literally, by repeating this cycle, you're telling those kids, who at this point don't understand what wrestling actually is. They're seeing grown men beat each other up. So now they have the image of the white man beating down the Native American. And it's okay, because the guy who beat him down is rewarded. He's rewarded for it. And that's where I have my issue. There was no repercussions to the person to Lexus King. Well, just because that's who it was. He literally got rewarded for what he did. You know, they're pushing it off like as a punishment, when all he wanted to do was be in a knockout. So it's not a punishment. He's literally being given what he wanted. And I ain't the whitest of white. You know, and I'm talking about, you want to talk about labeling white privilege? There it is, with a really bad dye job. But that's what got me the worst. The fact that it happened and he got rewarded for it. You know what imagery kind of flew into my brain? Everybody out there in, you know, radio land, in TV land, back in the 19th century, when white people were given money for Native American scalps. Think about it. You can call me that I'm reaching, but no, this is not a one-off thing. This has happened multiple times with Native American wrestlers, and I'm done. Stop it. Just stop it. So I'm going to stop talking, because I'm starting to feel my blood boil again. My ears are already burning. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to let Mikey talk now, because he'll bring a level of calm to this, I feel. So
I'm gonna have Will kind of go sit in the corner for a little bit, because I'm gonna bring him back out when we get to the second example tonight that had all this. So I'm just as, even though you can't tell, I am just as annoyed and frustrated like Will is. My perspective is that if you wanted to have Lexus King in the men's breakout tournament, then you should have just inserted him there from the beginning. Have it be one of the participants, because from writing perspective, it makes no sense to attack a participant and then be inserted into said tournament, like Will said, as a reward. We'll also talk about somebody else who had to deal with Lexus King tonight, because I have lots of questions. I was just like, what are we doing? But it makes no sense. You had a bunch of people. Now, granted, obviously, you don't want to attack any of the African-American participants, because that's also not a great look. But you literally had like 3 white guys that you could have picked from. And the fact that I get that you needed to go for the closest one, but I was like, there's a white man standing right there. Like, the fact that you attack a participant and then you get rewarded by entering the... See, with him in the tournament, now it's throwing everything off. I was like, oh, he's going to win, isn't he? I'm like, oh, no. I was like, I don't want to see Lexus win this. See, had he been in the tournament from the beginning, then I might have been like, okay, I still don't want him to win, but the reasoning is not that bad. The fact that you attacked a Native American wrestler, then you get rewarded by being put into the tournament, doesn't sit right with my spirit. We're going to talk more about that when we see Lexus later tonight, because I do want to give some time to the first match in the tournament, Bourne versus Obafemi. Bourne didn't stand a chance. Obafemi threw this man all over the ring, and Obafemi picks up the victory and moves on to the tournament. I'm like, Bourne, that's what happens that's what you get. I'm still not over you. That's what you get for portraying Fallon Henley and our Coyote Uglies team. How dare you? This is your punishment. You lose, sir. Good day. But yeah, Obafemi threw Miles up and down the ring. It was great to see. I was like, not even close.
Oh,
so
God,
it was at first I was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then I'm like, this is kind of stupid, but I'm here for it.
It was so funny.
I laughed so hard. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cornball, but I'm here for it.
Oh my God.
It was so corny, but I love it.
And again, this is the women's thing, and the women's stuff was so fun. Everything with the women tonight was so fun.
Honestly, speaking of more women's fun stuff, we go back to a backstage interview with Tiffany, and Tiffany is not having it. Like, she did not appreciate, Fallon Henley, like, on-sighting her earlier in the night. And she's like, ugh. I was like, I will let you ask a question when I tell you. So, and then she goes in, she basically is like, you know what? I'm gonna put Fallon in her place. We're gonna fight next week. I was like, we're going to fight this out. Now you can talk. And as the interviewer is about to ask her a question, she just walks away. I love Tiffany too, man.
So fun. I just love her. She's great.
It is so good. And so, spoiler alert, next week we're going to get Fallon versus Tiffany. So I'm like, finally, we're going to get this match that we've been waiting for. One-on-one, no multi-women tags, no distractions, no nothing. We're actually finally going to get this match, and I'm here for it. So from here, we go into, for me, personally, my match of the night for the NXT North American Championship, Dragon Lee versus the challenger who accepted it this time around, Tyler Bate. And I was like, yes!
Yeah, I was so excited for this. This is my match of the night too, by the way.
This match rolled.
It did. This was so good. And this is why, because y'all didn't know this, but I love Dragon Lee because of this match. I liked him prior to this. I did. I thought he was a great wrestler. I think he's a great human being, blah, blah, blah. But this match solidified it for me because much like I am I'm an Ilya Dragunov fan because I love the gentleman wrestlers. I love a wrestler who can wrestle you, kick your ass, and then shake your hand afterwards. And man, I got a little choked up on this one. I really did. And I didn't expect to. And I totally did at the end of it. I was just like, oh God, Dragon Lee, I love you. You're amazing now. I mean, you were amazing before, but it's like now I'm just like forever in your corner because of how he treated Tyler at the end of this. And I was like, okay, see that right there, man, so well mannered. Probably is, because his mom was up there with her chancla in her hand, but. So he's like, "Oh, I gotta be respectful." Chocolate comes flying onto the thing.
Yeah, right. Like,
but yeah, this is great. So good.
I think what helps too is that most luchadors, because of, especially Dragon Lee, because he wrestled in the heart of Mexico, and of course, like we talked about in our Impact review, spoiler, shameless plug, go check that review out. We talked a little bit about how the lucha libre style of wrestling, there's a lot of honor and tradition and family that is tied up into it. So what I love to see Dragon Lee is that he hasn't lost his sense of like the honor of wrestling after a match. Like he'll shake the opponent's hands, whether he won or lost and everything like that. This match was so much fun. It was just two cruiserweights just doing anything and everything to jump off things and then to pull off crazy stunts. But of course, Dragon Lee retains the title here, shakes Tyler's hands, hugs him afterwards. Loved it. So much fun. This was my match of the night from an honor standpoint, but just from a wrestling standpoint too. These two killed it in the ring. From here, this is what I was alluding to earlier. We see Coyote Uglies in the back, talking about the victory they had over Metaphor. Fallon comes in from, stage, on my screen, stage left, because it was on the left side. She's like, hey guys, I wanted to apologize. It's just that every team I see blonde and pink, I just want to go kill it. I was like, but honestly though, I would be that friend too. I was like, yeah. I know you can fight, but this is a different type of wrestling. So, and he didn't say, I don't think you're going to win, but he's just like, I'm not sure if you're ready for it quite yet. But it seems that Brooks and Fallon are going to try to help Josh get ready, because it seems we might be getting Noam Dar versus Josh Brooks for this Heritage Cup whenever they have this match. Honestly, I would not be surprised if that match happens at New Year's Evil in a couple of weeks. Man, Josh has been going up in the ranks for me in terms of just who I want to see be at the top spots and just be involved in more championships and storylines and stuff like that. Listen, after he threw down and threw Carmelo up and down the ring, and his impressive performance in the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline, I want to see more for Coyote Uglies.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is where I also got annoyed, because then we cut to commercial and we come back and we see Lexis King outside of Shawn Michaels' office. See, I was already annoyed. Then what made me even more annoyed is that we see Ava. I was like, when did she become Shawn Michaels' personal assistant? What happened? I was like, we can't find anything for her to do after the split from Joe Gacy, so she's making matches and she's kind of the general manager. I'm like, what is this? I know she's the Rock's daughter, you guys, but come on. I'm like, whatever. Unless there's something we don't know, or she has an injury or something and they still want to put her on I don't know what's happening. But literally, Ava says what we're all thinking. She's just like, you think I was just like, she's like, you're being put in this tournament. I don't understand why, but you are. And now we have to kind of deal with it. But you're all smiles, but you better be ready because you got a bunch of people who want to whoop your ass for what you did. And then Lexus was being creepy. And then Ava's like, ew, go away.
Yeah, please.
That was the other thing that was like, ew, I know you're supposed to be like this because you're a character, but ew.
Yeah, gross.
I was like, ew, I don't want to talk about it. I got to go take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me preface what we're about to talk to next. Then I'm going to tag in my tag team partner for this one. So, originally scheduled is supposed to be DJack versus Eddie Thor, right? So DJack makes his entrance in his Sin City-esque Aspire entrance. And then Eddie Thor does his little dance with his entrance. DJack tries to blindside him. What I loved is that Eddie literally dodged through DJack into it. The match doesn't even start yet. They throw each other around the ring. And what I love is as soon as Eddie throws DJack into the stairs, he literally becomes hold my earrings, girl. Like, he takes off the jacket, he takes off his necklace, and then he's like, hold my earrings, because he gives commentator the earrings. And then the match goes off where they begin to brutalize each other. It doesn't last long. It lasts for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then DJack grabs Eddie, throws him on the top turnbuckle. Now, I don't know if this was planned or if it just happened and they improvised this, but as soon as DJack threw Eddie on top of the rope, the top turnbuckle snapped. And the rope went everywhere, and I saw blood on DJack and blood on Eddie. So I don't know if that was like predetermined, like that's what was going to happen, or if not. I would love to believe it wasn't supposed to happen and they just improvised everything that happened afterwards. That would have been amazing improv. But as everyone's kind of laying on the floor and checking, DJack's like, oh hell no, we about to end this right here, right now. So he gets the turnbuckle and he begins to beat the living tar out of Eddie, which causes the disqualification. So Eddie wins this match via DQ, but it doesn't matter because DJack beats up on Eddie and then he takes the rope and tries to choke him out before the refs like come between the two and stop them. So DJack is still standing. He leaves the ring and Eddie's on the floor because he got his butt handed to him and he almost got choked out. Okay, before I let Will come in and talk about this in more depth, I think this is setting up a match between these two at New Year's Evil, and the only match that I can think of that these two need to have is either a street fight or an Extreme Rules match, one of the two. And then I feel like we should move on for now, and they could come back later, but I'm ready for DJack to do something different and feud with somebody else, and I'm ready to push Eddie towards another storyline with another person, or start putting him in some title contention matches, because I think he has paid his dues with everything that he's been given so far. Okay, I have said my piece. I'm going to tag you are in. I am going to watch everything burn to the ground. So you have the floor.
Okay, so this is the moment I was talking about earlier. How, again, we have this perception of, DJack. And DJack, yes, we know DJack is an evil bastard. We know he is. We get that. We do. But, and my beef is not with the wrestlers. My beef is with the heads up. Because, again, it's perception, damn it. You literally have, every time these two have fought, for the most part, DJack has nearly killed him in some way or another. And this match was probably one of the most extreme ones, when he beat him with the turnbuckle, basically. Well, not basically, he did. It's like, and again, I don't understand what they're trying to do here. Because again, here we have a white man beating down a Native American. And not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. And if I'm not mistaken, all 3 of them involved whipping in some way or another. Do people not see the red flags and that imagery? I mean, I can't, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm sorry, folks. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. You want to talk about the perfect visualization, personification, whatever you want to label it, of colonization. You just saw it. And not just in this match, but in the strap match they have, where literally DJack whips him on a post. So I don't understand it. Now let me tell you, and this is the other thing, I've watched DJack wrestle other wrestlers, and I have never seen him beat them like he does Eddie Thor. Never. And so I don't, and again, this is perception. We have children watching this. We have impressionable human beings watching these images on their television or wherever they're, or in live, they're in the actually audience. Because if you look at the NXT audience, you will see children. So this, whatever this is, needs to stop. And I agree with Mikey. I think that this is probably going to come to a head at New Year's Evil. At least I hope to God. Because, one, I want to see Eddie Thorpe be successful in something. Because he's a damn good wrestler. I don't understand how DJack beats him every single time.
I think Eddie won the strap match, but I think this next time they face each other, I think this needs to be a definitive win, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that's
no
no
post-match beatdown, no nothing. Eddie needs to have a definitive win. Like definitive, like point blank, end period, like
done.
DJack's not getting up, like Eddie has successfully won over him. Because yes, Eddie has been winning most of this feud, but like you said, DJack has been beating him up afterwards, and he ends up being the one that is standing and walking out of there every single time. In order for me to actually look back on this and feel that even though there was some ups and downs, this was a pretty great storytelling and feud, this next encounter that they have after this, whether it be New Year's Evil down the line, it needs to be some sort of crazy stipulation like Street Fighter Extreme Rules. And then you need to have Eddie win definitively, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Correct. Absolutely. And this imagery needs to stop. You know, the funny thing about this, not funny thing, but we can say that. They could have done this rivalry in many different ways, but they chose to go this route. And maybe, you know, we're overthinking it, or I'm overthinking it. It's very possible. You know, I'm looking at it from what I visually see. You know, if I knew nothing about anything, and I watched watched from when I first started to now, I would literally be like, what's up with them and Native Americans? Because it looks to me like they have a thing about it, Native Americans. And I would, you know, in this whole DJack Eddie Thorpe, because come on, when they had DJack go to his place where he does his meditations and attacks the tree, was attacking culture, like, and I don't mean in like, you know, we see like when they make fun of like luchadors, or they make, you know, the ha. This is like a brutal attack on his belief system. And because you and I talked about it, that was, I felt, was a line that they crossed. But it only seems to be with this storyline does it get this edgy, dare I say, and I don't like the perception of it. Now, of course, I'm just one human being in a world of millions, but I don't like the idea of it. I don't, you know, it makes me feel gross. It makes my soul hurt, really. And then probably, I know everyone's like, oh, well, it's just wrestling. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but again, and you're gonna hear me say it 1,000 times. There were children present. There are children watch wrestling. They're impressionable. And image matters. Perception matters, guys. It really does. And I'm not trying to be on a soapbox here. I'm really not. But perception matters. How you perceive something. And kids perceive things in black and white. They don't have gray areas yet. Most kids are saying, oh, this is black and white. White man is good. Red man is not. That's what they're seeing. They're not seeing, oh, one wrestler doing it, so it's just two wrestlers wrestling, and that's all they're doing. No. So, yeah. So this whole storyline, even though I have to admit, again, I think the storyline has been one of the best flow-throughs, because, and Mikey and I've talked about this before as well. You know, here's where I kind of get derailed from it. Because in the first two times, we were very much like, yeah, Eddie's going to come back, and he's going to be like a warrior, and which he has, which is great. He evolved. But eventually, the warrior's got to win. And we're not getting that. It's like, you have this character, you have Eddie's character evolving, and, you know, maybe this is just the next step, and then the final step is the true warrior coming out, or whatever. But I feel like we're now getting to that point where it's kind of starting to get uncomfortable. You know, it's like, oh God. I mean, I had to look away when he was beating him with that turnbuckle. I was just like, oh my God. I literally was sort of like, can I look anywhere except where that's happening? And I agree with you. I don't know if that was planned or if that was a complete, I think it was a complete accident. I really do. Because when I went back and watched it again, because he picks him up and slams him hard. And you see it kind of, it looks like he pushed it back and down or back and up or something. I don't know. But it looked like it just unhooked and popped loose. But maybe it was planned. I don't know. It didn't feel planned, and then when he takes it out and then like trying to choke him with it and hitting him with the spring, like he was like, because that at first I was like, oh, he's just hitting him with the pad, but no, every time it came down, that spring was like
it looked
parallel.
like he was hitting him with the spring and the hook too.
Yeah,
I was just like, it was hard to watch.
It was. So that's all I'm saying. I think this has been a beautiful like rivalry build, and the story has been consistent. And the through line, I think it needs to be resolved now, because I think if we go to another match like this, it's going to be way too. Because the thing is each one they fight gets more and more extreme, and I'm scared that it's going to look like he beat Eddie Thorpe to death with something. And I agree with you. I'd like to see him start going for some title shots.
At least something. Like, let's get both of these guys to do something else now.
Yeah, it's time to move on from this.
Yeah.
I thought we had, actually. That's what was so funny about it.
And when Eddie showed up at Deadline, I'm like, well, here we go.
All right, we can move on. I'm sorry. I'll get off my box.
No, it's okay. I appreciate you being you, because, listen, we review the weekly shows, but as anybody who has followed us here on the Bi-Conics knows, that we also tend to talk about the important stuff on all our reviews when we see it. So that's why we're given this platform to not only review, but also to express, what we see and everything that comes with it. But something I wish I had unseen. So the first half of this Chase You segment was actually pretty funny. They were trying to figure out, all right, so how did the fundraising go? And they made like total $100 maybe together with everything. And Duke's like, bro, like we got along. To see Duke Hudson go from happy-go-lucky golden retriever boy to very sad golden retriever boy made me sad.
Yeah, I know, me too.
While Thea's getting all excited, she's like, oh my gosh, he's up. And Jason's just like, girl, calm down. Like, she's being that one friend that I want to be. Is just like, girl, relax. It's a boy, calm down.
I know.
But I love that they asked to be excused, and Andre lets them be excused. And so Andre's with the rest of the press trying to figure out what they're going to do for fundraising. And then randomly, Reggie from, representing Out the Mud comes in with the briefcase and says, we have a proposition for you. And then Andre Chase is just like touching the briefcase and like, tapping his fingers on it. And that's how we end. All I have to say is, before we move on to the next session, Andre Chase and Chase U needs to stay away from Out the Mud. I do not like where this is going. I thought they were in debt to the D'Angelo family. Like, what is happening?
Yep, I agree.
I was like, no, Andre Chase, did we not learn our lesson from embezzling the funds? Like, no, you do not need to borrow from shady people. Like, no, we're good. So from here, backstage, Blair and Cora are talking to each other. This is literally setting up the will they, won't they? Are they going to coexist in this tag team match later? Which I thought was a really fun back and forth banter. And then we get into our second men's breakout tournament match. Keanu Carver taking on Riley Osborne with Thea and JC in the audience, as Thea has a crush on our little Aussie Riley, which is really, really funny. I mean, Keanu Carver had this match like 90% of the time, but then Riley's speed comes into play, and then that finishing shooting, star press was so beautiful.
It was.
I was like, oh my gosh, like he didn't over rotate or anything else. He literally looked like he stalled in the middle of the air when he did the shooting star press. I'm like, oh, that's clean right there. And Riley Osborne, representing Chase U, picks up the victory here, and we'll move on to the next round of the men's breakout tournament. I loved it. So
I did too.
It was great. So we get two backstage segments. I'm kind of roll them into one together. So first of all, Dragon Lee is walking backstage after, a little bit after his match. And who should catch up to him but Drew Gulak and the rest of the squad. So Drew, Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, and Damon Kemp. And so they're trying to give Dragon Lee a hard time, and Dragon Lee sees past it, which I love. He's like, all right, I see that you want something. What do you want? Do you want a chance at this championship? And of course, Drew Gulak's like, oh, we would never, yes. Like, I was like, just be. Dragon Lee's like, bro, just be straightforward. We know what this is. Now, what I found interesting is Dragon Lee is just like, all right, who's it going to be against? And Drew Gulak's like, oh, you'll find out on Tuesday. But Dragon Lee's just like, bet. And then they all walk off. So this sets up that Dragon Lee will be defending the NXT North American Championship again next week against one of the 4 members of Drew Gulak's squad, which I'm excited for. Low-key, I kind of want it to be Drew Gulak because I think that match would be fire, but honestly, we'll see what happens with that. Then the other backstage segment we get, Riley Osborne is walking backstage, and then Thea and JC are like Pink Panthering it behind him, like being all sneaky, and Thea's getting overly excited, and JC's like, go girl, go, 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 go. Like, mission. And this is just like, again, this is camp, this is corny, this is cringe, but I love it. But Thea is trying to talk to her crush is hilarious. He's so obtuse to it. He's just so innocent. I'm like, oh, my poor sweet little boy. I was like, you have no idea. And Thea's just like, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. What? That's literally how it went. She's like, you're hot. What? I was laughing so much at this. It seems that, oh my gosh, what if Duke gets jealous because there's another Aussie in here? I'm just like, I didn't even think about that until now. Listen, now I'm kind of here for messy drama. I want there to be messy drama where Duke gets jealous of Riley being friends with Thea. And so they literally have a Thea on the pole match, like fight to see who becomes her bestie. Even better, what if we have a match to see who becomes Thea's bestie?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yes, the possibilities here are endless, and I love it.
It's so corny. I love it.
I know. JC and Thea are like my new favorite duo right now. They can do no wrong in my eyes.
Nope.
Everything they do is just fantastic.
And then it gets juicier because then Kiana James and Izzy walk in and they make fun of Thea for having a little crush. And Thea's ready to chop their head off. And JC's like, girls, if you got something to say, let's fight in the ring next week. And then she escorts Thea off. And so we're getting Thea and JC against Kiana and Izzy next week. And I was like, this was a match I didn't know I wanted until they told me this is what we're getting next week. I was like, yes, Thea and JC teaming up is what I want to see. We've been asking to see more of them in a tag team position. I'm so excited for this.
Me too. I have been waiting for a really good tag team match.
Oh, I totally agree. I think this is going to be such a fun match. And then this leads into our women's tag team match with Nikita Lyons and Lyra Valkyria taking on Cora Jade and Blair Davenport. This match was chaotic. All the women did great. I'm so happy that Nikita is back to just punch girls in the face. I
love her.
I was like, yes, I live for a curvy queen. I was like, Nikita's back. Lyra did great. Blair did awesome. But I was kind of surprised when it happened. But honestly, I'm not as mad as the rest of the internet wrestling community is. So Blair technically did all the work, but Nikita pulled her out, and Nikita was fighting Blair on the outside, which allowed Cora to come in to steal the pin, and Cora pins Lyra to get her and Blair the win. So, like I said when we reviewed Deadline, I was like, oh, this has got to be a triple threat. But now we have how Cora gets inserted into this match because she pinned the champion. And I used to be that type of person where I would yell, no, the champion should never get pinned unless it's a title match and you're changing hands. But then I'm like, well, no, actually, this is okay. Because then it allows Cora to enter this for a triple threat match. And then this just gives Lyra another reason to kick both of their asses during the actual championship match. So I think Cora's getting inserted into this match, and we're going to get a triple threat at New Year's Evil.
Right. You know, I don't have a problem with the champion getting pinned in these like non-title matches because it just shows that they're human beings. You know, it gets boring, and it's sort of like that's why I don't like that idea. I like because Lyra just got pinned in a non-title match, and so now it's gonna make her be like, okay, I underestimated you. That ain't gonna happen again. So the next time that they're fighting, then she like kicks ass, you know? And it's like, it's okay to let them lose every once in a while. Like, you know, it's okay. And that's why I'm just like, it doesn't make them look weak. And I think that's what a lot of people, if they get pinned, oh God, it makes them look like they can't do what they're supposed to do. That's not what it makes it look like at all. We know Lyra can kick ass. We know she can because we've seen her do it. She beat Becky Lynch, for crying out loud, people. Come on. Do you think that just because she got pinned by Cora, that now her career's over? I know, I saw some comments about it. I was looking at it today, and I was just like, really? So I was totally fine with it. I was like, there you go. Because now Lyra's character can develop more. It's all about character development, guys. You've got to take the harsh with the great. You know, you got to take the bad with the good. It happens. We're human beings. We're not perfect. We're not going to win every fight. That's the thing. And I think when you have your champions, your title holders win every fight, it's like, that's dumb. There's nobody can do that. And that's why, it's like, and that's a whole different story. I won't get into that one. But anyway, that's, when you bring these people who are like title champions, I've been title champion for 25 years, it's like, never lost a battle. It's like, well, you're boring. Like, never lost one? Like, never, not one? No, I've never lost one. Okay, all right, okay. Now I want your opponent to kick your ass. Like, literally, I don't care about you. I want your opponent to kick your ass. So you're whatever it is if you were trying to get me to be like, oh my God, you're amazing, and it didn't work. I literally want your opponent to kick your ass. So I'm okay with Lyra getting pinned. Totally fine with it. More good to you, girl.
Yeah, I'm cool with it too. So I thought we were done with this match, and then we kind of linger. I was just like, Nikita goes to check on Lyra, and then all of a sudden Tatum Paxley throws Nikita Lyons out of the ring, and then does very stalkery things to Lyra. So I was just like, what is happening right now? This was the only thing about the women's segments that we got the whole night. I was just like, not even like, oh, this is bad. I was just like, what is happening? Like, whoa.
Go white female bullshit.
I was just like flowers in the attic type nonsense. I was like, what is this? Oh my gosh.
I'm waiting for her to start dressing like Lyra.
Oh, listen, if we get that level, I'm just going to be like,
oh, you need to call the police.
Seriously, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And again, we got to wait to see how this further develops. But Tatum Paxley's being creepy out here.
And I'm here for it.
I'm kind of living for it in a weird way.
Watching Lyra back away from her was hilarious.
She sold it beautifully. She's like, ew, get away from me. Like, what is happening?
God, what the hell are you?
She's like, there are no amount of words to tell you what I need you to do because I am so uncomfortable with you being in my space.
It was great.
But yeah, it's so dumb, but I'm kind of here for it, and I live. Speaking of living for things, we get a backstage with the himbos of NXT's tag team division. Hank and Tank are like hyping themselves up because they're gonna have this tag team match against Gallus next week. And who should walk in but the Gallus, all three Gallus boys? So Mark Coffey, Wolfgang, and Joe Coffey themselves. And I was like, I'm so here for this tag team match. But then what even made it better is that all of a sudden Joe Gacy comes out from behind the forklift in a worker's hat and everything, and just talks nonsense to Joe Coffey, and Joe's like, bro, are you daft? Like, what is happening? Get out of here. And then Joe Gacy just like with his coffee leaves. I was like, I don't know what we're doing with Joe Gacy, but I'm kind of here for the nonsense.
I am very much here for it.
Again, he needs to be the one that does the murder board. Seriously. We need him to do murder boards.
And he gets hotter every time.
We're just like, I don't know, the scruffy like nose piercing is kind of.
I was like scruffy construction worker look. I was like, hello.
That pipe down.
Yeah, seriously. Lay that line.
We're just like, all right, moving on before we get to the main portion, which ends the night. So Trick Williams comes out again, star. The crowd is behind him. Everyone's ad-libbing the whoop that trick part. I was like, somebody needs to put that in the theme song immediately. And Booker T, I'm killing it. I'm just like, it was great. So my favorite part of the first half before Ilya comes out, like Trick Williams just basically lifts off like all great athletes who had a comeback and everything. But my favorite one is I'm Trick James, bitch. I was like, what's up? I have never seen so much gaslighting in one singular moment than I did when Carmelo came out to the ring. So just to summarize everything that Carmelo said, he basically says that Ilya is the one that attacked him in Trick, And I love Ilya's just like, bro, are you high? Like, like, where did we get this? Ilya was me in this moment. He's like, are you crazy? Where is your logic in this? So what I love though is that Carmelo keeps going and Ilya's just like, bro, you're crazy. And he's like, Trick, I'm gonna leave y'all. Like, we need to figure this out. I love that the whole entire time, Trick didn't immediately believe Carmelo. He's like, yo, man, we could talk about this later. Me and Ilya are trying to have a moment. Like, we can figure this out later, but I need to handle business. And Carmelo was not letting Trick handle his business. I was like, because Carmelo, once again, is trying to steal the spotlight that he's not used to Trick being in the spotlight now, because that's where Carmelo always used to be. And I can smell the heel turn in which Carmelo says is like, you were always in my shadow, Trick. You're never gonna be nothing. You're just behind me. And Trick's like, I'm no longer, listen, the no longer in your shadow feud is what's coming for these two, and I can't wait. But I love that Trick's like, bro, we can talk about this later, but I need to handle business first. Let me. And he did it. And then he's just like, then he takes the title from Ilya. They fight over it. And as Trick goes to try to separate the two, like, Carmelo grabs the NXT title hard enough and he pulls it back and he hits Trick in the face with it. I was like, ooh, this is juicy drama. But then it gets crazier because then Carmelo goes to help Trick up. And then as Trick goes for the hand, Carmelo pulls away to stare at Ilya as the show goes off the air. I'm like, drama.
Oh, yeah. I was like, here we go.
The seeds of dissension have been planted, and I'm here for it.
You know, and it's so funny because it just makes Carmelo look crazy. Like, whatever he's doing, it's making him look crazy. Like, crazier than Joe Gacy crazy. Like, because he just comes out there and just, you know, accusing Ilya because it was like, there's nothing. You've got nothing. And I'm just like, you are so desperate to get Trick out of the way. I think it's because he wants to go after Ilya. I think he wants that title. And so he's trying to get Trick out of the way so he can step in and be like, oh, my friend, I'm going to step in and I'm going to fight in his honor or some shit like that. You know, I'm just like, and I'm here for that. I mean, totally here for that. But I'm just like, I'm really kind of hoping that we get this. I hope we get a Carmelo Trick fight sooner than the April thing. You know, I know February or whatever, but I want it now. I want it so bad. And I know we're not done with the story yet. I know we've still got to do the betrayal has to happen. We haven't had that yet. And I know we need to build to that still. Because now Trick is confused. You know, Carmelo's got him, I don't know if to believe anymore. You know, and it's getting great. And then the accidental hitting with the title belt. And I'm just like, and then at the end when he's like, here, let me help you up. He like literally the hand went away and he turned like the belt was calling his name. It's like freaking Gollum over there. He's like the one ring is calling him, you know, that sort of thing. And it was just so funny. And then the look on Trick's face as it went off the air, I was like, oh, here we are, man. Here we are. It was something else.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, like I said, that's how NXT goes off the air this week. And again, we are building towards New Year's Evil, and we're also building towards other stuff to happen in the next couple of weeks as we get ready to prepare for the end of NXT in 2023. So that's crazy. So let's go into our ratings. So I'm actually going to give this episode, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I still thought there was a lot of good stuff. The women absolutely killed it tonight. I thought all the women's stuff was really, really fun. But there's a lot of the men's storylines and just what we talked about between Trey Bearhill and Lexus, as well as DJack and Eddie. I was just like, I don't know where we're going with this, but I hope both of them get their retribution. If you wanted Lexus in this tournament, you should have just put him as a participant without having to attack somebody to take their spot, which is really, really weird. I also don't like that Ava is now like assistant general manager to Shawn Michaels out of nowhere with no explanation, which was really, really weird. I'm also worried because like we're focusing on these folks, but then I was like, there's no Braun, there's no Robert Stone, there's no Von Wagner. Like all the stories we had going before Deadline have kind of seemed to be dropped a little bit. So I was like, we're missing a lot of people. So hopefully we get to start seeing a lot of these folks come back over the next couple of weeks, but we shall see what happens with this. So Will, what do you give this week's NXT?
I gave it, I was like 7 and because I mean it wasn't a horrible episode. I mean it wasn't bad. My only issues, well, you all know what my only issues were. So the whole Bear Hill and Thor, I don't know. So I said 7.5 because the women were really good. All the women.
Right.